All right, we are live.
Nice.
3/4 of us now from California, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
I'm at a conference.
Which one?
It's called Code Beam. It's a Erlang and Elixir conference.
Nice. Where's it at?
It's in San Francisco. I'm in a hotel on Fisherman's Wharf.
Nice.
So that's been fun. Really enjoyed going for a run yesterday, just right along the bay. That was awesome.
Nice and warm.
Oh, it was freezing. Are you kidding?
Well, freezing for Utah people, really?
Well, it's freezing if you're in shorts and anyway.
Yeah. If you're going topless, I agree.
Well, we're supposed to be in the single digits here next week, so I don't want to hear.
I should have gone topless. I should have.
I mean, or just a bikini top. I mean, you're.
I think there are laws about that sort of thing.
No, I'd fit right in out here. You know, I'd be running down the sidewalk, and a couple of dudes would be like, "Nice nipples."
Yeah, tassels on there.
Got to give something to look at. Some people something to look at, right?
Yep.
Oh man, this went downhill fast.
We should probably just end it.
Yeah.
End it right now.
It just shows that we haven't talked in a while.
Yeah. So did you guys talk last week?
Mm-hmm.
No, we didn't do it. Did we do a call last? No.
No.
Oh, talk. No.
Yeah.
John and I did a talk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, at the Menfluential, yeah. So.
Yeah, because I was out of town with my wife, and I like her more than I like you guys. So
I'll just pretend like you didn't say that.
Yeah, because John and I couldn't have made it anyway, so it was Josh and you.
Yeah. Anyway, something that John said last time we talked then has really kind of stuck with me, and it keeps pissing me off, and so I keep getting more work done. It was when he called me out and said that I was bored and that I needed to knock it off.
Yeah.
And you were right. I didn't want you to be right, but you were right. So I have decided though that I just and I've been buckling down, and I'm like, okay, fine. Then I'm gonna get as much of this stuff that I'm bored with off my plate. You know, I'm gonna get it systemized, I'm gonna get it delegated, and then I can go do the other stuff that I keep thinking I want to do. But the other thing is it's also forced me to prioritize that stuff so that I'm not just working on random crap once I'm done. So, you know, it's like, okay, well, I got to push this, and I've got to prioritize this and work on this. And anyway, it's been productive, but I've been pissed off at you, John, for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
So yeah, I've been getting the DevRev up. That was one of the things I'm like, if I'm doing this show, I better just get it done, do it right. So I've been getting that one out public. It's been on YouTube, but I haven't put it anywhere else. So I've been getting it onto the website and setting up the RSS feed and doing all of that stuff, and trying to find sponsors for iFreaks that just fired up. And I'm starting to talk to people about some of the other shows I want to start. And that's been uber productive. So yeah, and then I've been listening to this guy named Andy Frisella. I am rambling, and I am sorry, but this is kind of where my brain's been. I've been listening to this guy called Andy Frisella. He's a show MF CEO, and he was talking about the process that he goes through for his day, where he basically writes down the 5 things he has to do that day in order to essentially win. And so I've been doing that, and that has been super productive too, even though I just have the, you know, I mean, 1 or 2 of them are, you know, ongoing things that I'm trying to fix or change or whatever. And the other 3 are typically things like, you know, get all the episodes of DevRev that are on YouTube onto the website, or, you know, set up the RSS feed or things like that. But anyway, that's been awesome. It has gotten me thinking, though, and this is something that Manny brought up a while ago, and I wanted to talk about, and that's kind of where I'm rambling and leading to, is that he wanted to do some more accountability on this, and the more I think about it, the more that I really kind of need something like that too. So I don't know what that looks like. I mean, the Pomodoros was definitely a good exercise, but it's still hard for me to completely figure out something that will challenge me enough, but still is, doable. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
So
accountability.
Manny was right too. Josh, I'll loop you in next week. Sorry.
Okay.
Andrew Fraschilla was the guy at 10x GrowthCon who was talking about sweeping the floor or getting his employees to sweep the floor.
Toilet paper.
Toilet paper.
Yeah, in his podcast, he says wiping the piss off the toilet seat is the one that he brings up. It's not my piss, but it's my toilet seat. So
Yeah, it was a very mixed message at 10x because he was talking about the power of delegation and how he doesn't do shit and how he just gets people to do shit for him, and then he went into basically, except for picking up toilet paper and wiping the piss off the toilet seat, like it's all our own response. We should just do it because it's there. And then I was kind of like, wait a minute.
Yeah, one of the values he was espousing was that everyone takes full 100% ownership.
Yeah.
But when it comes to toilet paper, other employees should take ownership, not him. That's what he was trying to tell me.
It was weird, but
yeah.
That when he talks about that stuff on his show, he basically says, look, everybody has to own, take ownership of, more than just their job. They're all responsible for the outcomes of the business, and that means keeping the bathroom clean too. And then he also talks about, for a lot of things, you do what you're good at, and you get other people to do what they're good at. Yeah. And I think that's a message you could take home, even if he didn't express it well.
Yeah.
I think John and I were just jaded from that conference very quickly within the first couple of hours, to the point where we never went back on day 2 or day 3.
Was that the Grant Cardone one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
After day 1 lunchtime, we literally it was like, all right, that was good.
Yeah.
You got your money's worth.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Or you got what you were going to get for your money, right?
We got the premium president seat, VIP seating up in the hallway somewhere for $200.
Yeah. Good news is it was 90% off.
Huh?
I said the good news is it was 90% off though,
right.
So got a hell of a deal on that shit.
Imagine paying $2,000 for those seats.
Yeah. Oh man. So I've been making YouTube videos on a lot of current events, which gain a lot of traction. So I did one on Captain Marvel, and it's kind of interesting. I'm kind of trying to figure out the balance of this. Like if you do current event stuff, you get a new audience, like you get more reach. It seems like the YouTube algorithm has changed a lot, where unless you are doing stuff like they're much more pushing trending topics than they did otherwise, like than they used to, right? So it used to be on YouTube that their recommended videos was the big source that you would get your traffic from, because like people would watch associated videos. But now it seems to be trending is a much more prevalent, like they push that much harder. So there's almost like you got to figure out the balance of that. So it's interesting to see how that is working. But I did one on Captain Marvel, and that one's getting some traction. And then I did one on Alex Jones being on Joe Rogan podcast. That was pretty funny.
That's got to be awesome.
I'm not convinced on this line of thinking of like the current events, just because, if you want to go whole hardcore on like the personal development / like the bulldog mindset thing, I feel like this is more of a distraction. You don't see Tony Robbins do that shit, or you don't see Brendan Bouchard do that, or you don't see the biggest thought leaders. They don't really care. They'll just keep going. They'll keep chugging along. They'll keep doing whatever they think is the right thing to do, irrespective of where, I think I think it's
Yeah,
a
John,
good,
I think you're bored.
yeah, John, you're bored.
No.
I mean, I could literally like agree with that right now because
Yeah.
it's, there is enough topics in the world that are personal development related that you're unnecessarily doing things that might get you subscribers. But if you think about like,
Which kind of subscriber? Well, that's
yeah,
the thing. What you have to do with this is, and again, I think you'll probably see like, I mean, Tony Robbins doesn't actually have a very big YouTube presence, but the people that have large YouTube presences, they basically do this. And really, what the strategy is here is that you find a current event topic and then you relate it to what you want to talk about in the personal development space, right? So
yeah, no, I get it.
that's the way that you reach more people. And I mean, it's sort of a must do at this stage to grow. Like most channels, I think it depends on the size too, right? Once you start to hit around 100,000 subscribers or so, like the growth gets severely stunted unless you can reach a wider audience. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm experimenting with it. We'll see what happens, but so far I've been just transitioning the message into my message, which brings people on board. And this is kind of the same strategy that we did with Simple Programmer initially to grow it, which was basically to talk about something that people are searching for. So in the case of that, they're searching for, programming, topics, and then to bring them into the soft skills space where they'll subscribe. But if you're just creating soft skills content, people aren't really searching for that as much. And it's the same thing I found in the personal development space. People really aren't searching for people kicking their ass and telling them that life is hard and you need to work hard and you need to like improve yourself. They're searching for like, the people that are searching on, some of these topics are people that have procrastination problems and they know it. And so when you hit them with that, they're like, oh shit. And then, you're reaching your audience. So it's a tricky thing to figure out exactly how to aim it. But
yeah, I don't know though so there's a balance, right? Because you don't want to do all videos that way.
No.
You do have a core audience, right? And
yeah.
they just want you to kick their ass, as you said, right? So, you've got to find a balance. If you're trying to bring more people in, I mean, I think it's worth trying, and then you can see if it's that effective. But yeah, I agree with Manny. I wouldn't spend a ton of time on it.
Yeah, no, it's like one or two videos a week.
It's taking you off mission. Like if you really focus on your big picture mission, if you really aligned your values and principles, all of this would just be a gimmick, in my opinion. Like you would feel like this is just a
maybe
distraction compared to the things you could do to okay, so Tony Robbins doesn't have a big YouTube presence, but you know who's the number 2 highest paid YouTuber in the world?
Number 2? I don't know who's number 2.
Who's number 1?
It's PewDiePie.
Yeah, number 2.
Me. I'm just kidding.
No
idea.
Brendan Bouchard.
You think so? No, not Brendan Bouchard.
It's not that I think so. I know because he was talking about it at Traffic and Conversion.
No, he's not even close to that. Like,
No,
look at it. He's got 755.
No, that's the whole point.
cases.
He's not playing the subscriber game. He's talking about how much money each of these influencers are making in total.
No. This guy is not. Is not.
You have no idea how big he is.
He's not on the up and up.
Brendan is not.
Yeah.
Dude, he is over 10 million for the last like 5 years or so.
I don't doubt that he's making that revenue, but
he doesn't run ads on YouTube, so of course there is no monetization on YouTube, but he makes the most compared to most of the other guys who are just doing sponsorships and ads, which is the short-term thinking mindset in my opinion.
Yeah, but his business model is not YouTube. He's not a YouTuber. Like, that's not his.
Exactly. Well, nobody's business model should be YouTube because YouTube can kick you out any given day. And then it's like, oh, my business model is MySpace. Where the fuck is MySpace?
Yeah.
Coming back.
Huh?
I hear it's coming back.
My business model is
Microsoft
Twitter.
bought it last week.
My business model is Twitter. Well, where the fuck is Twitter? So same way, who knows what happens to YouTube? His business model is not YouTube, but what I'm trying to kind of talk about is the idea that that is pretty. All of this is a sign that you are distracted.
No, this is like a specific strategy to grow the channel.
But growing for what kind of audience?
For exactly the kind of audience that I want. Like it's a matter of like there's
Will
what
they
you
buy
do
from
for
you?
yeah, it's getting exposure, but then the message is still the same message. It's not like the message is changing, but
Yeah, what I think I would do here is just make sure that you have some kind of measure for growth or things like that, and then see if it moves the needle, right? So
Yeah.
go look at your historical data, and when you start putting these out, see if it helps. And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, then find something else.
yeah. I mean, I'm seeing growth again on the channel from it, so that's yeah. I've already got a pretty good some good data points on the videos I've done recently on it. So
Can you see on the per video level, like which videos generate the subscribers?
Yeah.
yeah.
you can.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of key learnings from TNC.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Yeah, it was good. I probably sat through like 5 or 6 sessions, but it was whatever I learned there. One was Brandon Bouchard talking about how, as an influencer, you can make, 8 figures or more, and want to do that. And same JJ Virgin talking about the same idea. Both JJ Virgin and Brandon Bouchard are like big time influencers. I don't know if you know JJ Virgin. Yeah, she has a fitness empire, more or less. She's probably one of the most well-known fitness celebrities. So basically, Brendan was talking about one of the most important things is recurring revenue. Like predictable recurring revenue is the key to be able to build an empire, because without that, it's very hard to predict. Without that, it's very hard to spend money. Without that, it's very hard to know what's coming, and you're like constantly just going from launch to launch or going from one product to another without any consistency in the business. So like basically one of the biggest messages was like find ways to build recurring systems and recurring revenue into your business model. So which kind of goes to the membership site thing that you guys have been talking about. The other was the idea that it's not so much about the funnel as it is about the journey, in the sense you have to think about the overall picture of not just when the customer enters your funnel, but what's happening before, how they're seeing you, and in what color they're seeing you, all of the persuasion elements, and all the way even after they have been sold, how they're being treated and how likely are they to come back for more and stuff like that. So thinking about the overall experience rather than just, hey, let me sell and we're done.
Right.
Thinking constantly about the biggest picture of like, okay, these customers really, like, how can we best serve them from the time they first get to know about me? And a lot of these things are very hard to measure, as they were saying. Like, you don't know, you can't measure some of the branding elements and some of the customer service elements and retention elements that easily, but you have to think more along the lines of, okay, if I was a customer, how would I like to be treated, and how would I like that journey to be, and how I would want to go through this process. So like a lot of persuasion, but also a lot of like end of, the ongoing journey of like constantly making them feel that they're not just a prospect who became a customer and that's the end of the story, but like constantly taking the journey, or the journey never ends. The funnel kind of ends, but journey kind of keeps on going. And like, so finally, I kind of have figured out there are two ways to grow fast: organic through collaborations and inorganic through ads. Basically, there's nothing else. There's nothing faster than these. So JJ Virgin was all about collaboration. She's like, I haven't paid for advertising at all in my empire building. She has like, I think she does like $15-20 million right now. She's been on the Inc. 5000 multiple times lately. And Bren was saying, ads plus collaborations in some ways. But overall, like, I don't know if there's any other rocket ship other than collabs or ads for a business to take off. Collabs or ads are the only two. One is organic, one is inorganic. But that's it. Like, marketing-wise, there isn't.
Yeah.
Your own marketing efforts can never, like, they will never be enough to get rocket ship kind of growth.
I would add the one other thing would be right place, right time, which is not controllable, right?
Virality.
Right time, but that also, like,
yeah,
unless you tag on one of these where it's collaboration or ads, it's pretty hard to see how you'll.
Well, okay. So an example would be Gymnastic Bodies, the workout program that I do. I don't think they've ever done ads. They're not a very sophisticated business as far as marketing goes, but they came on the scene like right as CrossFit and body weight training was really just starting to get hot. Yeah. And they were the only game in town, and they had a forum. As far as I can tell, most of their business has been driven off of some blog posts that Coach Summer wrote like 20 years ago, and the forum. But that's like not something those are kind of exceptions. So
and we don't know how much collaboration they did on the back end to make it happen. You don't know exactly the story of the collaboration.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, it's not explosive either. Huh? It's not explosive growth either. Like they've had strong and steady growth. It's like it's what in Shortcuts, right? Or Smart Cuts with what's his name? Shane Snow, is that his name? Yeah. Where he talks about the wave, right? It's like if you get on the wave, then you're going to grow, but it's still not explosive growth. Like I think you're right. Collaboration and advertising. I'd add one more category, which is virality, which you can't control. But
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the problem with virality is that it's a gambler's game. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's not really a predictable.
No,
or that's not really a business. Like that's not what you want to bank your business on.
Unless you're like, I mean, those guys. Hold on 1 second. I've got the book.
From Poop to Goal, Harmon Brothers. Yeah, these guys were there at the conference.
These guys, Harmon Brothers, right?
Yeah,
they bank on it, and they have the formula for doing this, right? And they figured it out, and that's
an awesome title.
Do it. But they put a lot of work into that formula for doing that, right? Like they've made a lot of things go viral. Not very many people can do that.
Right? Yeah, I mean that's.
Well, and they're also consultants, so they're able to cherry pick the opportunities that could go viral, right? I mean, like the unicorn squatty potty commercial is a great example. I mean, like there's a lot of things built into that product that your average business doesn't have. So
yeah, I mean, those are like one-offs. Yeah, you can always come up with like those one-off little things that'll grow your business fast, but consistent, predictable, like something that actually anyone can do.
Yep.
There's only two things. Anyone can do those two things.
Yep.
Collaborate or run ads.
Well, and you can produce the content and hope that it goes viral, but
that's
can't control that.
Yeah, that's not a strategy. That's more like a gamble. Strategy, like literally saying, okay, collaborations and
You don't like hope as a strategy?
Yeah, no, rope is a good start.
I mean, it's kind of the swing for the fences strategy. I mean, it helps to have like the thing that will help that strategy work. The swing for the fences strategy is collaboration. That's the biggest like rocket fuel that you can throw on top of that. Because if you can get someone with a big audience, you have the chance of, you know, again, it's like just like what is that book, the Maxwell or Malcolm Gladwell book, the is it Ignite? Huh? Yeah, Ignite. Oh, no, Ignite or Connect, the one with the connectors and the I thought
Tipping
it was
Point.
What's that?
Man, if only we had a book guy on this show.
Tipping Point.
Tipping point, right? And one of the things that he talked about in that about the virality was these super connectors and how like the odds of that happening, that causes that to happen. If you reach enough people, then chances are you're going to reach someone that has this huge platform that promotes it. So
yeah, so I mean, well, it's almost like there is no formula for virality. Nobody knows that, but there is enough formulas for ads, and there is enough formulas for collaborations that if you get down on it and spend time on it, it will work. Virality, who knows what happens? So that's such a random crapshoot game that who knows? Why should you play that game? You should play the game that's got the highest odds of winning, rather than a game that nobody knows when it'll pay off. Like, especially if you, I think it's a
well, and part of what's the trend with virality too is that the odds, the rewards of hitting the jackpot get bigger and bigger, and the odds get smaller and smaller because of all the curation. You know, like 5 years, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, Hacker News, you know, a decent blog post on Hacker News could bring you 50,000 page views, and now it's like, you know, you could still get massive traffic from it, but it's extremely difficult. There's really no way to hack it.
I thought you were going to say 50,000 haters.
Well, that too.
Hater news.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's the same thing with Twitter and Facebook and the social media platforms where it's, you know, and John, you're seeing that too with these trending videos, right? Like on Facebook or on YouTube. They put the algorithm, the more algorithmically curated stuff is, the more it's going to tip toward the, you know, massive winners and then nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So
yeah, well, the thing is with virality, it's essentially defined by something that people see and are delighted with or discuss. You know, they have an emotional connection with enough to have to share it with everybody they know. And you never know what's going to connect with anybody at a given time, and so that's where the lack of control comes in.
Right.
I mean, there are definitely formulae for, you know, creating content that's going to get a reaction, but is it going to get a strong enough reaction? And
the C part is the part that gets harder and harder because because you get less and less exposure. So like on Twitter, right? You know, like Twitter will suppress 98% of your tweets. Exactly. Yeah. Twitter suppresses 98% of the tweets that come in and shows 2%. And so, you know, you might actually have something in the 98% that just it could have gone viral, but, you know, somebody decided the waiter came and they put their phone down at lunch and that's it, right? It's so long, no viral, you know. It's really, it's like the butterfly effect is really huge.
Well, the other aspect of that being algorithm based is, wouldn't it be nice if the algorithm was just a cold, heartless bitch? But it's not. all these big corporations have their political agendas, which
Yeah, they do.
at first we're like, no way is Google manipulating search results. No way is Facebook doing that. Of course they're being on the up and up, and YouTube, but now, you know, we know for sure they're absolutely manipulating the search results, and the algorithm is not just
for their
the
social
algorithm.
agendas. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that as well, which, I mean, you can use it to your advantage if you want to do that.
Yeah, well, the other thing, to Josh's point, is it's not just the initial getting people to see it, but I mean, my wife, she sits there, it drives me crazy, but she'll sit there and she'll scroll through her Facebook feed and she'll share stuff she thinks is funny with me, but there's so much stuff on there. You know, it's not just what got taken off, but there's still so much there that she may scroll past it. And so it's harder to get it to spread even once you actually get it out there and have people spreading it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So all that to say, we agree with.
Yeah. But that for
it's not me. I'm just the messenger. I'm not the one who's proclaiming any of these things.
But that's for fast growth, right? Like, again, I think that's like fast growth strategies are difficult, and they rarely work. You know, there's definitely things that do work, but ultimately having a good product ultimately the best growth comes from having something so good that people recommend it, right?
Yeah.
That's really like, and that takes time, but that growth is the most solid and exponential growth over time.
So,
right?
So if you think of a scale, a linear scale, on one end is product, on the other end is sales, and in between is marketing. Okay. So the better your marketing, the less sales you will need to do. The better your product, less marketing you will need to do, and hence less sales you will need to do. But if we're talking marketing, then in terms of marketing, the keys to growth are collaboration or advertising. Now you can go one other step further and say, okay, all I need to care about is the product, in which case marketing and sales are irrelevant. And that's true. Marketing and sales can be made irrelevant if your product is so good, like Tesla. But if you need marketing, then the fastest growth channels are, you know, these two, advertising or collaborations, one of those. Whichever one it is, you got to pick. And if both of those are bad, then you're resorting to just sales, which can just, you know, be a painful. It's like the difference between someone who has clients coming in the door and someone who's like constantly having to call in order to make the cash register ring.
Yeah,
that's all a function of marketing. Another thing he said that was interesting, Brendan was talking about, is like problem marketing doesn't scale. What it means is like just talking about their pain is not enough of a scale in that kind of marketing compared to catering to their ambitions, catering to their bigger vision. Like when you get into ambition marketing, then you have much more scalable marketing compared to problem marketing.
Right. Because once you solve the problem, then it's done. Whereas the ambition is there's always another level to reach. There's always a next thing. You can keep selling.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But the ambition can qualify as a pain, and you're only going to get people who are so ambitious. I mean, to pay, you know, that if they're not ambitious enough, it's not going to drive them to act. And so, you know, it's still a constrained market, but it's interesting because people feel like they're stagnated or that they're not reaching their potential. And when it becomes a pain, it's still a pain, but when it becomes something that's driving them forward, you know, you can get them there, and then you can essentially ramp up their ambition again to buy again. That's the difference.
Yeah. So that was really interesting insight in some ways. Dean Graziosi was talking about how, I think we all know this, but like for video ads or for videos in general, you got to obsess on the opening of your video, like literally spend maybe 50% of your time on the opening, because that's where you'll make or break the video. Because that's where the biggest fall off is, right?
Yeah.
It's the headline.
Opening on, like, obsess on the hook, obsess on the, like, you gotta, like, that's the most important. The biggest bang for buck will come, biggest bang for the time spent in your ad creation or video creation will be in the hook creation. And it'll give you the most value. Yeah. Do you guys have your funnels working already or no? Is it just a one product buy at any given time?
The us, you mean for the upsells that we had?
Yeah.
Yeah, not right now. They actually, so funny story. The guy who wrote the software, John, I don't know if you know this, but do you know, remember Bogdan, the guy that wrote the funnel software that we talked to? Well, he had a big falling out with his business partner. At I think it was WooCurve was the name of the company that they founded, where we bought our upsell plugin, and he basically like did this really shady thing where he like tried to steal all the customers. He basically went off on his own, tried to steal all the customers, and so they shut the whole company down and refunded people a bunch of money, like tens of thousands of dollars refunded to everybody, and it was a real nightmare. So so we don't currently have our upsells going. The conversion rates had dropped so low that I just haven't really prioritized.
Yeah, I think
it's not really worth it. Like, it's just, it was like a few $100s a month was what it was looking to be. So I just haven't.
It's going to make sense probably just to go to ClickFunnels and just suck it up, because ClickFunnels is what everyone's using, and it does the upsell, does all that stuff exactly the way it should. So
well, you don't have to support it at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you don't have 30 products or like a ton of products, then ClickFunnels is not a good shopping cart. It's like a good sales funnel tool, but it's not a good shopping cart software. If you've got a lot of different products, it becomes a real pain.
Yeah, I mean, it serves the purpose. Yeah,
it works. Like, it's great if you've got one or two main products, and that's really what you focus on.
Or funnels that are selling those. I mean, you could have as many funnels as you want, as long as those funnels are really targeted at selling that one thing, whatever that is at the end of that funnel. So.
Yeah, my point being, it just becomes there's no delivery built into it, so it becomes a real headache to manage.
No, it's got delivery. You can do membership in there, and they have their own thing.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like it's like a blank canvas. You have to build. You have to.
No,
every
membership
course
is good enough for most of the content types you guys would be trying to do. It's really simple. Membership is not like if all you have is like module 1, module 2, module 3, and broken down into sections.
Yeah,
you don't really need more than that. It'll take care of all of that shit. If you want to get more fancy, then you would worry about it. I've been thinking about switching over to ClickFunnels just because.
Well, for example, one of our courses has, like the JavaScript course has like probably close to 150 to 200 assets that get delivered.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you've got a lot of courses like that, is my point.
Then it's not a problem either, because you break it down into modules and sections, and it's okay. They will deliver all of that. It's not the most fancy LMS.
Yeah.
But you don't need, for 90%, 95% of your audience, you don't need fancy LMS. There are a few guys who will be like, oh, can you do the quiz? Can you do this? Can you do that?
Yeah.
And you can,
You can integrate it pretty easily with Kajabi or Teachable too. So That's what a lot of the the
Yeah.
best thing, like what I'm learning now is it's like, okay, go and look what someone who's making a shit ton of money and just spent a shit ton of money on marketing is doing, and then just see what are they using, and then just use that shit, because they're like, because they've already, like, you have to, you know, someone like, I look at Dan Locke's stuff, right, and I'm like, okay, well, what is he using? Okay, so he's using ClickFunnels, and then when you go to his course stuff, what is it? Oh, it's Kajabi, or I think it might.
Thinkific.
Huh?
He's doing Thinkific.
Oh, okay. So anyway, so you know, that's, they've obviously spent a lot of money and a lot of time researching it, and it's working. So I think that's probably the best way to what's the best way to figure some of this stuff out, and just use that same model, because there's no need to reinvent it. Like where you don't want to be an innovator is in the area of marketing. Right, that doesn't make any sense. Like,
Right.
You innovate in the product, the course, the content that you produce. So it's the same thing as like trying to write your own blog. So, and we've been through that. I had an interesting revelation in sponsorship. So I got a sponsor for what we call it, Bulldog Mindset. This soap company is it's like a pheromone soap. It's pretty interesting. I was using it already because I had seen it from somewhere else, and I was like, hey, that's
and this
cool.
is where the interesting revelation comes in.
So here's the interesting.
That reminds me of Blendtec. Don't inhale this.
So here's the interesting thing. So I have my Moroccan guy, Marwan, who's working for me, and he needs to earn his keep. And so part of the things that he was doing was, he's like, well, I need to make you money if you're going to pay me. Yeah. Okay. So he's trying to get sponsorship deals, and he's setting up a membership thing for Bulldog Mindset, and kind of running that all on his own. So, but one of the things, he was trying to get sponsorship from the soap company, this tactical soap company. And like, there's a couple of guys kind of like in the manosphere type of men's space on YouTube that are kind of promoting this. Like, one of them is Entrepreneurs in Cars, Richard, I forgot his last name though, but anyway, so he thought it was a pretty good fit. And then like, he's going back and forth, and I'm watching the email chain, right? And the guy's like, okay, well, we do affiliate, right? And it's like, you know, whatever, 5% or 7%, or maybe it was 10%. I don't remember what it was. Or there's a bunch of negotiation. And then it was like, okay, well, once John sells $5,000 worth of product, then we'll cut him a check, and we'll do a bonus, and you'll get a bonus. And I was basically going back to him like, I'm not doing affiliate. I'm not doing affiliate. This is not, you know, is not how I'm doing sponsorship, and it needs to be paid up front. And there was all this going back and forth, and, you know, and then finally, you know, and I think we talked about this, Manny, but I recorded a video. I was like, okay, let me talk to this guy. So I recorded a video, just like a video email. And I was like, look, here's the thing with the sponsorship. Like, I'm not doing affiliate. I'm not interested. I'm not even going to tell you that people are going to click the link and sell, and that they're going to buy the soap when I advertise it in my videos. What you're buying when you're buying sponsorship with me is my name and face associated with your product. You're buying a celebrity endorsement. That's what you're buying. You're buying that John uses this product, and so you should too. I'm not even going to directly pitch it. I'm not even going to directly say, "Oh, go buy this now." And you know, you're not going to get a direct sale. This is not direct sales. This is brand awareness, and this is celebrity endorsement. That's what you're paying for, and you know, and that's going to be. This is you know, this is the value that I have to offer you, right? And I mean, I said it in a slightly different way, but anyway, I got an immediate response from him, and he was super excited. He's like, "Oh yeah, let's do it right now. I'll pay you right now." Like, and I immediately sent the invoice out, and he immediately paid the invoice, and there's no problem, and he's super happy and excited about it. But there's a, you know, it's interesting because we had talked about this a little bit before, but I realized that again, and I think this is the biggest thing with sponsorship, is that the real benefit. Like, because every time that you do a sponsorship deal, right, you can either do a sponsorship or an affiliate, right? They're essentially the same thing if you think about it, except that you should choose an affiliate deal when you know that you can directly sell something, because it's a scalable revenue model, and You know, because if you think about it, like when a company pays you, right? Does it matter if they're paying you as an affiliate or a sponsor? And which do you choose and which do they choose, right? So they're either paying you for direct results, where when you advertise, they get so many clicks, they get so many sales, and it's profitable, you know, based on what they're paying you, or they're paying you for the brand recognition and the branding, you know, and if they're paying you for the direct result, like what we call direct sales, then it is always in your benefit to do an affiliate deal with them, because if they're making money, if it's profitable to them, it'll be profitable to you to do an affiliate deal. If they're not paying you for that, then you do not want to do an affiliate deal, right? And so you have to kind of know I think the difference between the two and figure out what you're pitching and what the real value is. And it might depend on the product, and also what the terms of an affiliate promotion would be. But in a lot of cases, I think it makes a lot more sense to pitch the idea of the sponsorship, of the brand recognition and the celebrity endorsement, simply because you can just sign up for an affiliate program. You can like promote, if you can sell something, that's a whole different ballpark. So anyway, it was just interesting to see that and to see the response. And I actually picked up another affiliate.
How much did they pay you?
Huh? How much did they pay you? $1,000 a month. Okay. For a few video mentions. So
who's the
huh? I'm doing like
a month for how many mentions?
I'm doing 8 mentions
a month.
Yeah. So, and they're just brief mentioned.
How makes your
and there'll be a link in the description for
8
times. How many exposures are they getting? Like how many people are watching or listening, or
it really depends. I mean, you could count on like each video having at least 2,000 views. Some of them, I mean, heck, I did on the Captain Marvel one, and that one's already up at like almost 5,000 views, I think. So it depends on the video, but you know, probably an average of 2,000 to 3,000 views, I'd say.
That's decent.
What was the title of the person you were talking to?
Oh, he's the owner of
the
company.
Owner.
Yeah. So I mean. But yeah, I had a couple other ones that I talked to, and it's a similar type of thing. But it makes sense, I think. Like I said, like that's and when you pitch it that way, so that people understand it, it's a lot better of a. Then you're not being judged on the metric of the buy, and there is serious value to it, right? I mean, there's serious value in a celebrity endorsement, because it's like a lot of times, like if you look at it, especially like in this space, like I think this is a really good deal for the tactical soap for those guys, because when you know people are watching YouTube videos and they watch my video and then they go over to Richard's channel, they watch his video and they see him with the soap, right? And it's like we don't know which touch point is going to result in the sale, but if they keep on seeing, if they're watching videos on masculinity and you know mindset and these type of things, and they keep on seeing every single YouTuber that they're watching is you know using the same soap, well, you know, they're going to be influenced to buy that soap at some point. So that's, I mean, there's a value in that if you can kind of if they can get enough you know exposure, right? 1 exposure is no good, it's not enough. You know, 2 is not enough. You know, it takes 6 to 7 times before it registers. And so, but if you pick the right niche, and you can do that. But it's also a strategy that I think that we can use as well, if we can target the right niches and make sure that we get in front of people multiple times. In fact, that's how I initially built you know, Simple Programmer, right? I was using that strategy, going on podcasts, going on blogs, going everywhere, so that it would be multiple touch points by the time that someone, you know, had come to, you know, but over time, you know, software developers would know who I was. So
how's that going with the Facebook ads?
But before you switch over to the Facebook ads, I just want to add something on the sponsorship stuff, because what John's saying is absolutely right. I mean, so I started selling, you know, the sponsorships and offering as part of the deal that I would do a demo video on YouTube, because most of the stuff that I'm selling is You know, it's like, hey, you go on and you use this product to manage your projects, or you go on and you do CI and things like that. And so I go in and I pull out a real world project I'm working on and I plug it in. And so then when I do a video on Netlify or Clubhouse or something like that, then people actually see it. And then in some of the cases, they can actually go see that, you know, I'm still using it for whatever product I put in there. And it's the same kind of thing, right? It's like, oh, Chuck really does like this thing, or Chuck really does use this thing. And so it's the same kind of celebrity endorsement, except I'm actually showing them that I'm using it. And so it pulls a whole lot more than it does if it's just, you know, me on the show saying, hey, I like this thing, go check it out. Or even if, you know, on the audio podcast, me just saying, I actually use this, and so I got them to sponsor. It does get them traction, but it's not the same as, you know, me actually holding it up and saying, this is the thing you should try.
And think about like the effectiveness level, right? Like let's say that Michael Jordan is like, you know, Michael Jordan is drinking a Coke and he's like, oh yeah, I like Coke. I drink Coke. And, you know, he's like does a slam dunk and he drinks some Coke, and right. Versus he gets on a commercial and he's like, let me tell you guys about something that changed my life. It's Coke. You guys got to buy Coke right now. Just go ahead and dial this number below, go to your store and buy Coke, right? Like it's not going to be as effective trying to sell directly. You see what I'm saying? It's like now the trust factor is lost. It's like, is the thing a celebrity endorsement, or is it a sale, right? And it's and there's a huge difference, because as soon as you cross that line into directly selling, then you lose the trust, you lose the ability of the celebrity endorsement, right? Because it's now it's much more effective to have a subtle placement. It's more effective to see someone using it as far as the branding, as far as building the credibility in the the celebrity endorsement.
The other thing is, and this is the thing that's the kicker, right, is that most people, when they talk to a podcaster about selling on their podcast, you know, doing the ads, I mean, they're talking about an ad read and done. And so it's more to that I'm doing something that nobody else is doing, and you're kind of in the same boat, right? It's, hey, you know, I'm putting it out there in a way that nobody else can, and you know, so you have more of a unique selling proposition for them than you know, everybody else who may be doing the same thing, right? And so, you know, you have your unique audience, you have your unique way of saying it. And it kind of puts it out there in a different way, kind of like offering videos or offering to put it on my mailing list. You know, I'm offering a 3-pronged approach to marketing, right? Instead of just the one avenue, and it changes the whole equation that way.
Josh is throwing up right now in his mouth. He's like, no, brand marketing, fuck.
No, but that's exactly what TNC was going.
Yeah, TNC has totally jumped the shark on brand marketing.
Yeah, they're real. I mean, it's not just that. It's like, I think the world is realizing that direct response has its utility, but there's limitations, especially in the world of persuasion, where you're having multiple touch points with like multiple exposures, and like people are not just going to buy because they read a long form sales letter. There's a lot more trust building going on in this world today beyond those long form sales letters, and those trust elements are not always visible. And the whole idea of like how marketing is a game of 7 touch points, at least marketing is a game of repetition, and some of those repetition points are not easily measurable. Is where the world is going right now.
Well, and that's the whole, like, and we've seen this, right? Like, direct response marketing is effective, but it's effective to your audience. It loses a huge magnitude of effectiveness when you try to do that with an affiliate promotion, right? Like it just drops off the. And now there's ways that we've been able to ramp it up and boost it up, but if you think about it, like the ones that we've had effectiveness with are ones that already had sufficient brand marketing themselves, right? So like Josh, we you know, Pluralsight works for us, even though we're doing an affiliate promotion, we're doing direct marketing essentially on it, because they've already built brand awareness, and so it's not a big deal. It doesn't matter who's making the offer.
Well, the other thing is that you, John, in particular, have talked a bunch about Pluralsight.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, it's not just brand awareness, but it's brand awareness with your audience where they know that you believe in Pluralsight. And so it's a different sale than it is if it's, hey, I checked this out and it looks real nice, and so I'm gonna tell you about it. It's it's different because it's, hey, I've got a bunch of courses over there and they've got an awesome product and you can really level up with it. And so it already has that ring of endorsement.
And we've tried it on the other side too, right? We've paid for direct sales type of endorsement, like when we've paid for advertising on newsletters and platforms, and we've had very bad results, I would say, in general. And it's because of that whole idea that doesn't, you get a lot more mileage, but it's hard to measure out of the brand endorsement, because that does transfer, because that the celebrity type of endorsement is actually relevant, and it doesn't cause a loss of trust. Whereas when you try to direct sales, hopping as many
that's why
hub to hop.
That's partly why what we're talking about, like collaborations are so powerful.
Yeah,
because you're borrowing trust.
Yeah.
Right?
But the way we're describing collaborations is the opposite of what John's saying.
What do you mean?
We're not going to pay anybody $10,000 to just go on their email list and talk nice things about Simple Programmer.
It would be a longer term campaign. So imagine if you did this, if you picked out a space, like let's say you picked out like JavaScript, and you found all the JavaScript newsletters, and you were in the JavaScript podcasts, and in what you did in some of the blogs, most popular blogs, and what you did was you didn't pitch anything. You just paid essentially to get endorsement, celebrity endorsement, for them to say, for them to hear your voice. Is one avenue where you would speak on the podcast. Another one would be where they sent something in the newsletter, like promoting your content, right, or praising you in some way, or telling some story about someone who had a success with you, but they're not selling anything or asking the users to do anything. You would hit enough of those touch points from so many different avenues, hitting that target audience, that they'd be ripe for the sale when you did actually make a direct sale, right? I think you could have the effectiveness, but if you talk about, like, are you going to pay one time to get on one person's list to just have them say nice things about you, it will have zero effectiveness. It won't matter. Like, don't do that. It's like, it has to be a strategic campaign.
The problem is that everyone for the brand advertising, everybody's charging a premium, and it's extremely difficult. I mean, basically what you're describing is what was done for the last 80 years, ever since advertising really started to take off in the early 1900s. And it works on some level, but it's tremendously expensive, and the failure rate is through the roof. So
it depends.
Now it's a new game of brand awareness, because it's like you are kind of doing controlled brand awareness.
That is true. You can be a little more targeted about it, but it would still cost. Facebook. It would still, for us to run email ads in the top. Okay, just humor me here. For us to pay for placement, for us to pay for placement of blog posts, okay, in all of the top for 1 week, just for 1 week, in some of the top JavaScript email newsletters would cost $20,000-$30,000. You need an astronomically high customer value in order to play that game. I mean, you need you need to be in like the enterprise B2B, customers worth $100,000 for you to be able to play that game. Like, it's not, even with the targeting, it's still too expensive. Otherwise, everyone would be doing it right now.
No, so
you're 100% right. I mean, you have to show up and sell it yourself. So
micro branding, this term I just came up with in my mind right now.
I'm sure somebody has used that for something else. But
probably have. They've probably written a book on it if you go look on it. What I'm trying to look at it from a completely different perspective. I'm thinking of it from an audience perspective. You can become, in the audience side, the go-to guy or
Right.
the guru, the expert through micro branding. What I mean by that is Facebook ad costs, like what people are talking about, and this was all the conversation at TNC again and again. It's like it's higher if you actually just try to do a lead capture directly from an ad. So what they're saying is initial ad has to be through to your content piece, where they start to become aware of your brand, and the next one goes to your lead magnet. So that's like micro branding, in the sense you're going after an audience, you're exposing them to your brand, you're building that brand awareness, and now you're asking for that next step, right? So that doesn't require hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that kind of thing, but Facebook and YouTube are now allowing us to live in that.
I mean, that's exactly what we're doing with the actually with the coding interview bootcamp right now.
Talking of which, tell us about it.
Well, it's not working. No, we don't know if it's working yet. So we got some sales this week, though, which was really encouraging. So we have had 5 sales come in the last 6 days. Now,
cold audience.
Well, that's where I just honestly don't know. So I think that they were seeing like 1 or 2. So the Facebook team was seeing 1 or 2 sales had come in that Facebook was reporting. And I was seeing, I mean, clearly in the shopping cart, like there were people buying this product. One of them was like the first time they ever showed up in Drip was buying the product. So they might have been on the email list, like who knows. A lot of times people use a different email address when they buy. So you never know. One guy has been on our list. His lead score is like almost 400. So he's been on our list for 2 or 3 years, I think. People. Yeah. And there was no evidence that he had interacted with the Facebook campaign, but we're not promoting it anywhere else. So unless he found an old email from last year when we launched the product the first time, there's really no other way that he would have gotten to it.
You can't find that on your shopping cart?
No, it's hidden. It's hidden because it was a closed course. Like we only ran it the one time, and I didn't want people asking about it. So it's hidden in WooCommerce. There's no way to find it. So at least I think it is. I should probably check that. But yeah. So so we had that one come in. But I mean, this even if it was in the shopping cart, or even if he did find it in WooCommerce, we haven't had any other sales come in. So, the timing of it. But yeah, so we've got, and then we had the one come in from Facebook earlier in the week, and that one was somebody who signed up for the list in early February from a different lead magnet, and then ended up going through, seeing the Facebook ad, going through that email course, that email sequence, and then buying. So it's like extremely murky.
Yeah.
So how much has the ad spend been compared to the money made?
We've been, if you look at just the last week,
no, not the last week. You have to look at,
total is around, I think around $2,000 or $2,000 or $2,500. And we've made around 1,200, 1,300 in sales so far. So, but most of that's been in the last week.
Okay, so what's the last week's numbers like?
I'd need to look at but we've been averaging around $500 to $600 a week on Facebook ads. And then, so if that's true, I haven't looked at the numbers. They send us a weekly report, and that's what I pay attention to. So the next one will be on Monday, so I need to look at that one. But probably it's around $600 is what we've spent, and we had it's $200 a sale, so $1,200. So
nice.
Is this a fluke? Is this, I don't know. Is this is it a trend? I don't know. But the good thing is, the more sales we get, the more sales Facebook sees, the better they get at figuring out who to send us. So if we can get the wheels turning, that actually tips the scales in our favor quite a bit. So, and there, yeah. So, I don't know. So yeah, and then also they were not seeing those sales showing up at all. So some of them came into the old WooCommerce page. So it seems like our tracking is no longer working on that side of things. But
I mean, Facebook is so greedy; they will freaking take.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah.
One little view, 1 second. So I'm surprised this is working the other way now.
Yep. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, I don't know. So we did have one refund come in. I'm not too worried about refunds because I think like the product
of this game.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even if they're at this point, even if they're high, we're gonna, if this starts selling, we're gonna be putting a lot of energy into making the product awesome. Like I think it's useful right now. It's decent. And the raw materials there for it to be amazing. And if it's gonna sell, then we'll make it amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the right approach.
Yeah, the refunds don't matter at this point.
How many? What's the list bill like? How much is the cost per lead from the last report?
Well, so we were down to $3, and now we're back up to $6. So I actually asked them, like, is this, like, why is it? What happened? Is this like a? I'm not really sure if.
Have they excluded the warm audience now?
Have they? I think so. Yeah, I think so. I need to look at that, but I think so. The sale that we saw come in that got reported was actually from a lookalike audience, which is encouraging. Also, I think the lookalike audiences are a lot more likely to work than the interest targeting.
Yeah.
Then the lookalike audiences are the ones that are going to get better over time because that's where Facebook, like if we're pumping our customer data back into the lookalike audience, then Facebook will have more and more data points to work with. But the other thing that was interesting was one of the guys emailed us right after he bought and said, "Hey, is this," or right before he bought, and he said, "Hey, I have a job interview in 2 days. Can I get access to the whole thing right now if I buy?" And Rodrigo told him yes. The answer was actually no, because I set it up to drip out the content originally. And then he emailed back and he was like, "You didn't tell me the truth." And I was like, "Uh-oh, here comes the refund." So we just gave him access to the whole thing. But he said, "I have a job interview in 2 days." So I'm actually wondering, like, that's an interesting data point where if we get this thing selling, one thing I might do is go, all right, well, can we do a version of this where it's the in case of fire, break glass. I have a job interview in 2 days. What do I do?
Right.
And you charge $500 for that, right? Because it's more.
Oh, right.
It's a lot more targeted, and they need it right now, and they need it.
Why do you have it such that it's stripped out? Just give them access.
Well, because in theory, if they have to wait for it and work through it it's better than if they can just zip through the whole thing and then refund. It was an attempt at reducing the refund.
Like, who cares, man? So, you'll get refunds, but you might be lowering your uptake because people are like,
but they don't really know. They don't really know ahead of time. Like, it's not advertised.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, I mean, most courses, like a lot of these higher end courses are delivered that way, where it's like, there's like week 1, week 2, week 3. Brian Dean's SEO course is that way.
I've also seen them where you have to finish unit 1 to get to unit 2.
Yeah, exactly, Chuck. Yeah, you have to work through it sequentially. And really ours is kind of designed to be worked through sequentially. So I've actually turned that feature off right now. But I think there's that format can be useful. But yeah, so we'll see. I was looking at one thing that was interesting. I was looking at I've been looking at the coding boot camps lately and what they're offering. And the number 1 coding boot camp is what is it? The App Academy.
I don't think I've heard of that one. I talked to somebody that went through a Hack Reactor yesterday at the conference.
Yeah, App Academy seems to be #1 from what I can tell. Like they're rated #1 by the review sites. They have the most reviews. They seem to have the most traction everywhere. I don't know for sure. I mean, I think Thinkful's bigger in terms of numbers, but that's because they have a big focus on the online space. Right. But anyway, so I was looking at the App Academy, and they have a coding interview course, and they're charging $3,000 for it.
Really?
Yeah. However, it is a 6-week deep dive, in person, 4 nights a week type of deal. So that's kind of an interesting
for interviewing.
Window. Yeah.
And they're selling it.
I mean, I presumably, I don't know what their numbers look like, but that was an interesting window into kind of the market expectations. There are definitely people selling the really high end stuff, but the delivery on a lot of that stuff is really kind of labor intensive.
So that's something that could be interesting, is to have a chart like of the coding interview boot camps that exist out there, and
right.
like have the $3,000 price tag there, and have a couple other comparisons, and like, make one of those grids, right? And then show ours and show our price at like $500, and then say, and then actually make it a negative to be like, do you like, you'll have to show up 4 nights a week, right? Like, instead of you can do this on your own pace and study at your own pace, and not have to wait, and not have to, show up and listen to a lecture in a class, like, well, so we can make that a positive.
They actually have online only versions too.
But how much do those cost?
It's $1,000, I think.
Yeah, okay. I would still be making the case, hey, look, this is overkill. We can get you there with a whole lot less effort, and a whole lot less costs.
Yep, and the time. Yeah. Like, you don't have to commit all this time to showing up to class. Like, instead, here you go. But yeah, we turn that into a positive, and then it's like a no-brainer. Well, shit, do you want to pay $3,000? You want to pay $500?
Yep. Well, and then you also oversell it on, we had an expert pull all this stuff together. You know, and hear all of his credentials and stuff.
Yeah.
You're getting the best person, best price, best, same outcome.
Yeah.
They on their, so this was pretty interesting. I did not realize how far the coding boot camps have invested. Like, so they have the App Academy has put their entire 4-month, 5-month curriculum online for free. So it's like start to finish, become a full stack JavaScript developer for free. They have a membership version of it. Where you get a mentor. You get a mentor who will do code reviews for you, and you get access to a group call once a week. Well, guess what the price is?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm sorry. Do you need room service?
So monthly membership.
Yeah, can you come back in an hour?
Yeah. I can come back.
Monthly membership?
Yeah, monthly membership with an assigned mentor who will do code reviews with you, like kind of like Google Docs style, like markup code reviews, and they do weekly mentor calls with their group of mentees.
Maybe $200 a month.
$29 a month.
What? Well, okay, so here's a great example of why we don't want to compete in this space, right? Because it doesn't make sense. What makes sense is the thing that we're already the market leader in, which is soft skills or career management skills, we could say, right? Or even marketing yourself as a software developer. Any of those spaces, we have the distinct advantage because no one else is doing it. I mean, if someone is, they're not doing it well, and no one knows who the hell they are. But but any one of those numbers, pieces we can carve out, and it's an incomparable, like we're the only one offering this this thing so we can price it, right? We don't want to get into this commodity. Like the coding bootcamp has become a commodity business where it's like it's going to be a race to the bottom on this because it was a money grab. And
basically they it seems like they have leveled off. The growth has leveled off, and they are now going after enterprise, which makes a ton of sense because there's only so many people that are in the country that are going to want to spend $20,000 to switch their and take off 6 months in their life to switch careers. But companies will pay all day to have their employees retrained to be developers.
Well, the other thing is that we're also seeing some consolidation in the market, right? Because the guy that I talked to, he actually went through what was it, Makerspace? And he's like, and they got acquired by Hack Reactor, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that.
Yeah, Thinkful bought under these. Thinkful bought their next biggest competitor. Also, I can't remember the name of it, but
so here's the one I was thinking about, Josh. I was talking to Manny about this. We were talking about maybe like a couple weeks ago in the gym. So the Complete Software Developer Career Guide, right? So it's essentially got 3 tiers to it, right? The book is all one, but we talked about this from the beginning. It's got 3 tiers. It's got the beginning developer, it's got the intermediate, it's got the advanced, right? And so what would be interesting, I think, is to go all balls to the wall on all in on this. And we've got a built-in pricing model here, right? So imagine like the beginner level is like, let's say $300. Like you want to become a software developer, or you're just starting out. You know, you have this, we have this like, you know, bronze, or we can have some kind of, you know, whatever, symbolism for it. But you start out there. If that's where you're at, we have this, and the price point is correlates to it. So it's maybe it's $300, maybe it's $500, somewhere around that price point, right? Then we have the intermediate. You're a career software developer. You want to make more money. You want to learn how to, to navigate the pitfalls, how to advance your career, where to go with that, how to become a senior developer, how to become a 6-figure developer, right? There's a lot of kind of things that we can find that these people want, right? And so then you can buy this, right? And it's the next level. And maybe this is $1,000, maybe $1,500, somewhere around there. Then we have the advanced developer. This is a developer that wants to start a freelancing business. This is a developer that wants to become an entrepreneur. This is the one that wants to become a professional speaker, speaking at developer conferences, that wants to build a brand and market themselves, right? And this price tag is like $2,500. And the beauty of doing something like this is that we can move them through, right? So we can collect a lot of people, and there'll be the biggest number of people at the smallest tier. But those people, we have the immediate next step for them, which is to say, okay, now that you've become a software developer, you got your first job and you're making money, good. Now you're ready, and you have the money to buy our next level, which is the intermediate developer, and we're going to teach you how to get to here. And the people that come in from there, we can say, okay, now that you've learned all these skills and you've mastered this and whatever, now here, are you ready to become an advanced developer? Are you ready to take the next step in your career? Are you ready to start making a side business and money and marketing yourself, right? And so if we do that, the beauty of that is, like I said, that we've got the tiers, we've got the pricing in, and we can have a very high ticket. And the thing that what it does nicely is it justifies the price of the high ticket, right? Because it's really hard to just have a $2,500 course. But when you've got a $500 course and a $1,500 and a $2,500, and it's because of the levels, then that $2,500 price tag makes a lot more sense. And it also makes the entry level seem a lot cheaper. So it's kind of working on both sides of it. Plus, we've already got the curriculum, like most of the stuff from the book and the layout and stuff that people are familiar with. But the more and more I'm thinking about it, I think that's like we can put everything into that business model.
It's going to be a lot of work.
Where would you want to start?
At the bottom. And what we could do is basically show that the middle and the top is not unlocked yet, right? That it's not available yet. And then actually we can show it as if it's there and test the pricing. And then when people click it to sign up for that one or to buy that one, we put them on a wait list and we say, oh, sorry, we're still, working on this, but we'll let you know as soon as this launches. Then we have pre-release launch lists for the higher tier products.
Yeah, that seems like a good way to go.
And really the most work will be in the higher tier stuff. The beginning stuff is a lot easier, so we can develop that course and
Right.
make sure we're getting the interest on the other pieces. But I like it because it also gives us a progression. We can, with these customers that we get, we can have a longer lifetime value on those customers, and we can probably build some kind of a continuity program into there as well at the different tiers of having access to the membership or the forum or whatever it is, and things like that. But
cool. Yeah, I like starting with the one where the audience is going to be the biggest, because that'll be a good. I mean, I think that'll allow us to get some momentum.
Yeah.
Well, and you can sell the ultimate goal without actually being able to sell the ultimate goal, if that makes sense.
Right.
So you guys are, so it's a one-off course, not a membership site or something like that?
I mean, I think that it makes sense to always offer some kind of a membership element, some kind of continuity afterwards. But the primary thing is is selling the course and then having that feed into a membership.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very difficult to sell the membership on the front end. I would not want to try to do that.
I'm gonna have to keep on also asking how much value you're creating or how much value you're offering when you try to sell it, because people will buy it if there's enough value.
Of the membership, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's no point when we've got on already existing. Like the other thing that we're doing with this too is that, remember, we're selling like around 2,000 copies of the Complete Software Developer Career Guide per month, if you count the digital and the audio versions. So we're already getting brand awareness of that idea and that product, and it's highly reviewed. So when we use that name and that branding to launch this course and this, we're going to be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's just some formats that are inherently, I mean, the format itself has an impact on what you're selling. I mean, what am I trying to say? Sorry. The pricing model itself, in some cases, is inherently more difficult than others. So the people that I know that are most successful with membership are offering it as an adjunct to a one-time sale, which is what we would be doing. Because asking people to sign up for I mean, there's a reason why the SaaS, if you look at the numbers for a SaaS business, which is a subscription-based model, their numbers are like, they would wet themselves if they were getting the numbers that we see on stuff regularly. Like they get, like they might get like 0.5% conversion on a free trial to a paid subscription or something. And it's a lot of that is just because it's a subscription model. And if think about Thrivecart they launched themselves with a one-time life access. And eventually they switched to a subscription model, but they did that after they did the lifetime access thing to get traction initially, because it's
but
the subscription
most successful softwares are always subscription softwares.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
Well, but the most successful look at the most successful email marketing software of all time, right? What is it?
What is it?
MailChimp?
No, the most successful.
Oh, Infusionsoft.
Infusionsoft. And what did Infusionsoft do? I don't know if they're doing it now, but they made you pay $2,000 first and sold you training, and you had to do it, and then you got on the subscription. And that creates a higher stick rate. It also makes the subscription price seem smaller.
Yeah. That's a good.
ClickFunnels is trying to sell for $1 billion right now.
From 1 billion to trying to sell. Wow. Crazy.
Yeah, they're already like, I think Nathan was talking about it, and some of the other people at Traffic and Conversion were talking. They're getting to 100 million I'm our like annual run rate right now.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah. So can I push us to talk about accountability?
Are you going to
I
keep us
want to.
accountable to that?
Yes, I will crack the whip.
All right. Talk to us about accountability.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how we could do it. Because, I mean, I don't know. I really liked doing the Pomodoros, but I don't know if that will work for me.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to just try, you know, one method or another. You know, we could just commit to, hey, I'm going to do these things this week, and then next week just come back and say that we got them done. And then it doesn't have to be Pomodoros or whatever. It can just be whatever.
The problem with committing to getting things done is that you don't know what the time it will take. It doesn't guarantee an amount of work.
That's true.
That's why the Pomodoro is like a more effective metric, I think.
Well, yes and no, because sometimes having a deadline to get shit done
Yeah,
forces you to become more
Yeah.
productive, like mentally, like change your levers and gears to get to the high level to get shit done. So, you know, knowing what you will get done next week or by Friday, what you want to get done. I think if we just commit every week on this call and say, this is what I want to get done by next Friday,
yeah.
that might be a good start.
Like one thing
Three
that you're
things.
going.
3 things.
I think
I
three
go for
is
3
good.
things.
You
Yeah.
can commit to 1. We can commit to 3.
Okay.
Right. That might be pretty effective in just like forcing that accountability that we want for each other.
Well, the other thing is then we're talking about, this is what I think the most important thing for me to do next week will be.
Right.
And then next week we're talking about that most important thing, or it may turn out, hey, you know, it turned out this other thing was more important.
Well, I think, okay, so this is where I've been thinking about this quite a bit, where it's very easy to keep changing what is most important, but it's actually
Yeah.
much more crucial to stick with the plan, because otherwise you're constantly going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and never really
No, I agree.
getting your stride.
Yeah, it's more important to execute than
Yeah.
it is to.
Like the important stuff, usually it's, if it is absolutely urgent and absolutely important, then yeah, I can understand it. But most of the times it's like, this is 75 and that is maybe 77.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I should do 77.
Yeah.
But you build trust in yourself when you say, I'm going to do 75 level work. I'm going to do what I said I will do no matter what, rather than keep switching.
Right. No, I agree.
Which is
I
very
mean, it
interesting, 'cause,
basically
like,
comes down
as
to,
entrepreneurs, one of the best, most exciting things to do is change up your plan and fuck yourself up.
yeah, I do that when I get bored, right, John?
Yeah. Like ADD, and you're like now suddenly like, that was a good idea yesterday, Friday, but today is Tuesday and I've already changed my mind.
No, I agree with that. You know, if something is on fire, then you can come back and say, hey, this thing was on fire, and so I had to, you know, but yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Jay Shetty was talking about how he basically sets aside a week per month just for content. Nothing happens during that time. And then the remaining month is used for everything else. You know, you guys know Jay Shetty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen his ads.
Ads? He's running ads?
Many ads all over the
No,
place.
I haven't seen a single
Other
ad.
people, I'll put other people's ads with him in it, maybe.
Yeah, I've not seen a single ad of him yet. Because he hasn't, I don't even know what he sells. I don't know if he sells anything. He's just a speaker dude.
It's got good brand awareness, though. Yes, that's what matters.
Yeah, if he decided to sell anything tomorrow, it would be just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. So yeah, so I like the idea of just committing to a few things every week and then talking about it next time.
All right, sounds good to me. All right, should we do thoughts? Are we Anything else?
And our what do we want to call these?
Commitments.
Yeah. Of course, now I have to think about what I'm going to commit to.
Yeah, he's just a speaker, dude. Literally, all he has is coaching. Damn.
I've been getting a ton of coaching inquiries, or actually just people just signing up directly.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Can they do that? They just go on your website and pay and schedule?
They send me an email and tell me how committed they are to doing the coaching, and then I send them an invoice.
Gotcha. Well, my thought, and this is something that I've just kind of been dealing in and thinking about over the last week, is I've really been getting focused on what I bring uniquely to devchat.tv. And I've really been working hard to delegate more and more stuff to my team. I mean, this is kind of what I talked about at the beginning of the show, but it really kind of drove home, hey, you know, I shouldn't be doing stuff that's getting me bored. I should be doing stuff that's, you know, getting me where I want to go. And so, yeah, I've been focusing on those things and really been getting all that stuff documented and out there so that my team can take it on. And what's also nice is that once I have it out there, Michelle has been really good about actually going in and she's encouraged people to follow the procedures. I'll just put it that way. So she's gone in and said, this is not right. You didn't follow the procedure. Go fix it. And since I'm paying people flat rates for, you know, the editing and the, you know, putting links on the podcast episodes and stuff like that, you know, it's essentially, you know, on them at that point. And so that's been really, really nice. And then as far as what I'm going to commit to next week, I know at least I'm going to commit to having all of the processes documented for the podcast hosts. And I'm also going to have DevRev completely launched and on iTunes and Google Play and things like that. I'm not sure what the third thing will be, but it will be blah, 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 something, something Podfest. So.
Let's see. All right. My thought is vocabulary is powerful, right? So this is kind of an interesting, I think it applies a lot to marketing and to building a cult, if you'd like to do that. But I had a run-in on one of my videos I did with a big, you know, a group of MGTOW, men going their own way people. And it's kind of like
MGTOW?
MGTOW, men going their own way. MGTOW.
Dude, you don't want to get into John's vocabulary of all the different kinds of men there are.
Yeah. So I started like, you know, talking to some of these people and looking around and seeing like some of the common themes, you know, and what I found was this really powerful vocabulary of like essentially like you can short circuit people's rational logic by and essentially brainwash them by using vocabulary. It's like design patterns, like a particular word that has an overloaded meaning. Just when you can get people to use and say that word, the belief step is immediate. It's no longer a question thing once it becomes part of vocabulary, right? So there's a lot of words that we say that, you know, that we use in slang terminology, where it has a pretty long and deep meaning to that, right? Now, and it's amazing how effective it is at brainwashing people, right? Because you would like, you know, the groups of people that have common vocabulary think alike, and they don't question what they believe, right? So you know, there lots of different groups use this. You just don't see this awareness. In fact, you know, the most prevalent way that you would see this today is within the left and right, the political spectrum, and you know, the echo chambers there, right? But it's not just that it's echo chambers and same ideas. It's the terminology, it's the wording, right? So if you look at this like in the sphere of kind of liberal terminology, right, you'll hear things like toxic masculinity, mansplaining, what are some of the other words? I don't know. There's a bunch of them, right? Like there's a bunch of these type of words that that vocabulary connotates a huge amount of depth to it, and you can get people to very tightly align with your beliefs if you use that vocabulary, right? It's the same thing you could say on the right. There's certain things that that people say, all the time, that vocabulary, similar vocabulary, right? That is almost like a form of brainwashing. But it's kind of interesting because, like, if you think of it, I mean, there's obviously, it can be used for bad, but you can use this with your tribe and with your group in order to create that that cohesion in the group, right? If you share a sense of vocabulary, if you share these meanings, you're defining these new terms and words, it can build a very tight knit following, and almost, I mean, like I said, you can build a cult out of this. So it's just interesting to see. Like, I've been looking and seeing, and it's like, wow, every time that you find highly, ideologues, you're going to find a vocabulary that's unique to that ideology. So there you go. And then as far as like my commitment right now, I'm mostly focused. I'm doing a 1031 exchange. So my big commitment for next week is to identify the properties, to finish up basically the process of getting the property that I need to do this exchange for real estate, because I have a time crunch to do that.
So what was the commitment then?
To get the properties identified for the 1031 exchange.
But you're not going to be able to do that by next week.
No, I will. My deadline is Monday night.
Ooh.
So.
Ooh, damn.
Yep.
Better be hustling.
Yep.
Okay. I guess my thought is, don't limit your future vision based on your current circumstances or competencies. I think the biggest challenge we have as human beings is that we let our past dictate our future, and we get stuck in that forever. And that's a very difficult thing to overcome. And I think the only way you overcome this sometimes is surrounding yourself with the right people, because your beliefs can just overpower you. This is basically a challenge of beliefs, because your current circumstances and competencies make up your belief systems, or your past circumstances and competencies make up your belief system. And now that means the future vision is muddied by your current belief systems and your past competencies and circumstances. So very easy to say that don't limit your vision based on your past, but very hard to break through to get that. Yeah. And my commitment is a couple of different things, one of which is getting my presentation done for PodFest, because I'll be speaking at PodFest next week. So that's probably the biggest thing for me right now. What's going on?
You need somebody to heckle you during that.
You're going to be there, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. No, it should be fun. I don't know how big a stage it will be, but it should be fun. So that's primary for me. And the other thing is probably recording videos for the next couple of weeks. So recording three animation audios that will become animations. So 3 videos for the next couple of weeks that go out. Yep, that's it. My whole week will be spent in PodFesting, I guess.
Cool. I'm going to pass on thoughts for the week, but commitments will be, I think I'm going to rerun our interview cake offer next week with Parker. And then I also need to get our biggest sponsor Perfecto. I just found out that the contact person that I was working with there is now no longer there.
Oh, no.
So I need to figure out I'm going to chase that rabbit hole and make sure that we don't lose that sponsorship.
All right. So
All right.
I think we should at some point track these as well, because otherwise we're just making this in the air.
I agree. We can figure that out though.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Alrighty.
All right.
Bye.